Hello, everybody. In today's episode of Adventures in Real Estate, I will be teaching you how Anthony and I do our yellow letters. My name is Rod Valdez, and I've been partnering with Anthony in this quest in our real estate adventures, I guess. So, with that being said, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have Microsoft Word. As you can see here on the screen, I already have a new document open. One of the first things that I would recommend is the font that you use. We typically have found that the Brian Scratch font appears a little bit more handwritten when we print our yellow letters. Adds a little bit more of a personal touch to it. And so the way that you can find Brian Scratch font, you can download it so it's accessible to you on Microsoft Word, is go to this website, www.dafont.com/Brian-Scratch.font. Here you'll see the font that's available and you can download that. Okay, go ahead and click on your download and that'll download to your computer. In your downloads, you'll see a folder that says Brian Scratch. Go ahead and open that folder. Here's the file for the font, and double clicking on that, you'll find that there's an install button. Once you install that, then it'll be available through your Microsoft Word. Okay? So that's the first step. The second step would be to take your yellow paper that you're using, and if you have a scanner, go ahead and scan that and save it as a JPEG file. I went ahead and already did that. You can see here's what the file will look like. It's just a simple picture file, and what we're going to do is we're going to use that so that we can properly space the text of our letter. On this file you can see I had handwritten some text onto it so I would know approximately what size font to use. So you want to have that saved to your computer. Okay. So as we go back to our Word document, again, if you've downloaded your Brian Scratch, the first thing you want to do is set your font to Brian Scratch. So you'll see as I click here on the font menu, Brian Scratch, and I've also found that the size 24 works the best. Okay. So you've got your font size. Now the paper size for us, our paper size, you'll go here to your page layout, your size, and we've found that our paper size is the A4. So it's slightly less than your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This is the paper that we use for our yellow letters. And so we now have our page sized. The next thing you want to do is go to your margins. And I will use no margins. So my last custom margin basically you'll see here as 0 on the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. So you can set that up by going to your custom margins and getting that set up. So we're going to have basically no margins. Okay. The next step in our yellow letters is we're going to go ahead and just begin by typing up what we want our letter to say. Okay. And for what I'm going to show you, I would recommend beginning with a couple spaces at the top. So I'll hit enter twice, bring my cursor down, and I'll begin typing my letter. So this is how my letter will go. It'll say, Dear Owner. Okay. And I'm putting parentheses there as a space holder for my mail merge. And I'll discuss that in a little bit. But I'll go ahead and say, Dear Owner, my name is Rod, and I would like to buy your property at, and I'll put a tab here, and another placeholder, street. Put another space below that, and then I'll put city. And again, in parentheses, these are my own way of telling me that these are placeholders that I need to fill in. City, state, and zip. Okay. If you are interested in selling, my font just changed. Why, I don't know, but we'll make sure that we are back on our Brian Scratch. I know why that is because Brian Scratch doesn't do commas. So when I hit the comma, it changed it to a Times New Roman. So we'll just keep Brian Scratch. So I'll say, if you're interested in selling, please call me at, and then you'll put your phone number. Da 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 da. Well, I guess hyphens don't do it also, so we'll just XXX XXXX. Okay. Period. Respectfully, and I would put a comma, but it doesn't have that in Brian Scratch. Rod, and then my phone number. 123 456 7890. Okay. And at the end I'll add a PS. I'm wanting to buy soon. Please call. Okay. So that's my basic yellow letter. You can do it however else you want to put it, but that's what ours says. Okay, so now that we've got our letter typed out, next thing we want to do is insert the picture that we used. Okay, so I will insert anywhere. You click anywhere within your text, and what I will now go is to the top. I'll go to Insert, Picture, and I'll find that picture that I saved of the yellow letter. Here's my yellow letter. Double click, and now you'll see that I have my picture here and my text on the right. What we want to do is we want to change our picture and its position relative to the text. So right now you can kind of see here on the corners there's some squares. That means your picture is active. Okay. With that, we're going to change the position of the picture. So at the top we'll go to Position, More Layout Options, and then we'll put the picture behind the text that you see here. Alright, hit OK, and magically the picture is now behind the text. Okay, and again, the reason why I put spaces at before is because now you'll see that the text is a little bit further down. If you were to have your text at the beginning, when you get to this part, any changes that you do to the text now will move along with the picture. So as you can see here, by this square here and here, the picture is still active. So what we want to do is just double check, right click your mouse, and make sure you go Send to Back, Send Behind Text. Okay, so again, your picture is still active. So if you hit the Escape button, you'll notice this little square and this little square will disappear. So if I hit Escape, watch, it's gone. So now your text is active. Okay, this is the point where you're now going to change and format your spacing so that your text matches the lines on the paper that you're using. So you want to print out or type out your paper or your letter, sorry, so that you already have your text there, and now it's just kind of moving things around. So here you'll see on the screen I can click on in front of Dear and I can tab over. Okay, so you can see I had the Dear William, the 24 text. Looks like it works okay. If you need to change that to, say, a 26, that'll work also. So get a feel for how you want it to look. But I use 24. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just kind of get these tabbed over where I want them to be, and I'll kind of indent the street and the city so the address kind of sticks out a little bit. And as we go through that, just get everything over so they will line up with where you want your margins to be. Okay, so you can see here that not everything lines up with the text. So this is just a matter of formatting, changing the spaces. So if you look, we can do something and highlight the text. I believe if you right click, you go to your font. Sorry, that's the wrong spot. I apologize. If you go to, I believe, your paragraph, then you can have your spacing before and after your text. So right now it's defaulted to 10 after, so I want to either bring this line up to this one or space it out to go to the next one. So you'll see that if I go to from 10 to 12 or 18, it now dropped that line down. Okay. Same thing, you can, by doing that, just be careful now because see, I made the picture active again. So you want to always kind of click within the text instead of outside of the text because it'll select your picture. So again, if I hit escape, you'll notice that the squares go away. Okay, so now you're within your text. So you want to start just basically playing with these different lines and finding the spacing. So you right click, go to paragraph, and you'll find the spacing that works best. So I think I went to 18. Okay, that did it a little bit better. So it's a matter of just kind of playing with it. These kind of line up a little better. That one's better. That one, that one, that one. And you can see here now even some of these are better. So maybe that's the key. So you can play with it however your font comes out. This one turned out to work out pretty well. Okay. So again, I clicked on it and it made it active. Hit escape, and I want to maybe bring this line up. So I'm gonna just get the spacing a little bit different here. Okay, maybe on this one here, instead of doing that 18, I'll right click paragraph. Instead of doing the 18 point, maybe I want to do it 12. I don't know, we'll try that. That didn't work. So anyways, you get the idea. So rather not waste your time, make sure that your lines match, your text lines up with your lines. Okay, in this case it does. I was trying to make it a little bit prettier, but however your text and your letter fits, you'll want to play with that. Okay, so now that you've got your text formatted to fit the lines, you want to click on your picture. So I clicked not on the text but out in the open space, and you can see that the picture is active again. In this case, what I'm going to do now that it's active, if I hit the delete button, now that picture of the yellow letter goes away, and you know that this will fit where your yellow letter lines were at. Okay, again, format as you need. But next, what you're going to do is Anthony and I work off a certain list that we will get, whether it's a foreclosure list, absentee list, whatever list that you're using, you have to have that saved on your computer as well. This is where we're going to get into the mail merge. Okay, so you've got your letter set, and I've got my placeholders. So now you're going to go up to the top and go to mailings. Okay, once you go to mailings, you'll see here a button that says Start Mail Merge. Okay, if you click on that, from that mail merge, you're going to go to the step-by-step mail merge wizard. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll take you through it. So now your mail merge wizard is up and running. You've got your letter here to the left and kind of the directions on the right. So we're going to do a letter for the type of document that we're going to do. Okay, so we'll leave that at letter. Step 2, start document. Okay, how do you want to set up your letters? So we're going to use the current document. In the future, because I already have a template, I can start from a template and select that. So to give you an idea, I have my yellow letter template. Okay, but in this case, use the current document. Pretty simple. Step 3, okay, use an existing list, select from Outlook contacts, type a new list. Okay, so I'm going to use an existing list. So wherever your list is saved, you're going to browse here and pull up that list. Okay, in this case, I have my list labeled, saved on my thumb drive, and I'm going to select that and click open. Now my list will come up. It notes that the first row of data contains column headers, so that's fine. I will click OK. Now on some of these lists, you see we have trusts, banks, but this is going to be how the list looks. To give you a better idea of the actual list itself, I'll give you a sneak peek. Here is our list. So it's got that first line of headers, and then it's got owners, label name, it has owner last name. You can go through and see the first names, and then you actually have over here where the owner's mail goes. So for your letters, you're going to address your letters based on this, but the property will be property address. Okay, in this case it was an absentee owner list, so property address, property house number, so on and so forth. Okay, so that was our list. We selected it here, and in this case, for time's sake, I'm going to show you that maybe you don't want to hit everybody on the list. So for instance, the city group doesn't have a owner last name or owner first name, so for illustration purposes I will take these 3 out, and there's a few more. You can go through and unselect those from the list. Okay, so once you have that, okay, we're going to go back over here to the right, and we're going to write our letter. So we'll go to the next step, step 4. Well, we already wrote our letter, but I have my spaces, my spaces saved. So what I want to do is, you can put in specific types of blocks. You can put an address block, a greeting line, so on and so forth. But because the way that I do it, it's more personal, and the way that I wrote my letter, I'm going to go over here to more items. Okay, this is where you're going to put in the information from your list. So because I'm going to look for the owner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here before my placeholder, go back to the right and do more items, and now I'm going to find out the field that I want to put there. So my letter says Dear Owner, so I'm going to put my owner's first name. Click on that, hit Insert, and I've got it in there. Now I'll hit Close. Okay, now I can delete this placeholder here. Okay, so it's got owner 1 first name. That's the block that it's going to put in. Okay, my name is Rod and I would like to buy your property at street, so I'm going to click here. Okay, now what I'm going to insert is the property street address, so I'll go through property address, click here, insert, close. Now property address and street, so I'm going to take out my placeholder. So just to double check, property address, how does that look on your list? We have property address. Okay, if I wanted to put property house number, I could put that in as a block. So depending on how you want to put your blocks in, for me it just makes it easier by putting property address. Now the city, again, we'll do the same thing. I will look for, now keep in mind my list has it by property, and then there's actually a mail. This is the owner's mailing address. You don't want to put that in there because you're saying I would like to buy your property at, and then you're doing the property address. So the city, we are now looking for your property city. Here we go. Insert. Remove that placeholder, and we'll find the property state. We'll remove that, and then we're gonna put in the zip for the property. Now you'll notice that this kind of changed things, the format, and I'll show you that in a second. But now we've got our placeholders put in with the blocks that are going to be inserted from our spreadsheet. Okay, the way that you can fix this is now you can preview your letters. Okay, so we've already gone through step 4. Here's now step 5, preview your letters, and now mine says, Dear Terry, my name is Rod. Property address at, here's the street address, the city, the state, the zip code that came in, and then the rest of my letter. You can go over here and look at the various recipients. So this was recipient number 9 on my list, Terry at 259 East 46th Street. So I go to my list, property number 9. That's actually number 8 because number 1 is the first one. So this is property 9, Terry, 259 East 46th Street. Okay, so it looks like it matches. So you can go through all the various recipients over here on the right side and click through and make sure that they match. Now this one, recipient number 13, it's blank, and that's probably because, again, this was one of the ones that was a family trust. So I didn't delete it like I did over here, but I wanted to show you for illustration purposes. Okay. And then you can, before we complete the mail merge, there's a few things that I wanted to do. So I will go back to write your letter, and like I said, the Brian Scratch does not have commas. So I will put a comma here because it'll say Dear Owner first name, comma, and that comma isn't in Brian Scratch. It defaults to Times New Roman. The city, I'll put a comma here. Oops. You'll see if you accidentally hit a button, it comes into that different font. Property, state, zip code, if you're interested. Here I'll even put in my hyphens because hyphens are not in Brian Scratch. Okay. I'll put if you're interested in selling, I'll put a comma here, and I'll put in hyphens. Okay. Now you'll see that got pushed, but again, that's because you'll see it here, and then when you preview your letters, now everything comes in. Dear, and again, this was recipient number 13 that didn't have anything, so we'll go back. Dear Terry, my name is Rod, and I would like to buy your property at 246 for the next guy. Dear John, property at this, and so it's changed. All of this remains the same, respectfully yours, and in this case it dropped down. So you always want to preview, make sure that it's still formatted the right way. So I could maybe hit a backspace here or whatever, but again, keep in mind that when I hit that backspace, it's going to affect how it actually shows up with respect to the lines of that yellow letter picture. So just so it doesn't show, I want to make sure that that any changes you do you do before you remove the picture. Okay, so let's just assume that all these are lined up with the picture. We're ready to go. Here you can also edit your list or exclude this recipient. So let's say number 13 we knew was no owner because it was the family trust. I can say exclude this recipient and it'll go to the next one. So you can preview all the different ones, and there's a couple more. Okay, but you can see the address changed depending on the city. All of that should be there. Once you're done, you'll go to complete the merge. Everything's ready, and then you can print. You can either print or edit individual letters, or you can print. At this point, you're now going to take your yellow letters. You're going to tear them off the pad, and obviously make sure that they're lined up. Make sure that they're inserted into your printer the correct direction. And lined up correctly. Make sure you got enough ink, all the basics that come with printing, and then you will go ahead and print. And then as it feeds through, each one of your yellow letters will begin to print, and you've got your stack. If your printer has the ability to do envelopes, you can go back and do the same thing and start a mail merge and go through envelopes. You highlight envelopes, and then you can go to the step-by-step mail wizard, and that'll do the same thing. You can basically type out how your envelopes want to look if you're going to use another handwritten script or font, and instead of the property address, obviously you'll use the mailing address. Okay, so that's basically how Anthony and I put together our yellow letter flyers and mailers. If you have any other questions, please feel free to hit us up. We're excited to be on this journey with you guys, and hopefully we were able to give you something that you can take with and improve your business. So thank you for your time. Hopefully it wasn't too boring, and again, God bless.